There we are, my friend. We are live. I just told my wife before I went in and sat down to do this live that it's like the best thing ever is when I get to go live and talk to you guys in this fashion, this way, and in this setting. I think it's just drop down amazing to have the ability to talk to you all over the world in such an easy way from my home office. Well, to all of you fellas in Australia, good morning. It looks like it's going to be quite a good day down there. A couple of rainy periods on the East Coast. Here in Sweden, we had a fantastic day today. Blue skies all around. Spring is truly here. It's going to be amazing. So, I'm not here to talk about the weather. I'm here to talk about gratitude, and I'm here to talk about scarcity because I promised to do that yesterday. And I figured if I promised to do that yesterday, I probably should follow up on what I promised. What did you say? Let me know first and foremost if you hear the sound. We had issues yesterday with the sound, so let me know if the sound is all right. And the weather in Canada seems like it could be slightly different. Springtime is marvelous, but Canada for some reason is lagging slightly behind on that sense. It's what it is. We're a global world, and snow hopefully comes to, or the snow hopefully melts for you guys in Canada as well, and spring breakthroughs. So I wanted to tell you a story, a real life story from my life that has to do with scarcity to do, and that I think has a valuable lesson to it that I wanted to share with you. And it comes back to the days where I just started, when I left the army and I just started my business. This is almost 10 years ago now. Time flies. Time really flies. So I started the business because I really wanted to do something for other people. And I wanted to, this old cliche, I wanted to change the world. I wanted to do something different. But everyone taught me. I was taught from the very, very young age, like you might be as well, that the way we run a business and the way we do this is we go out and sell stuff to people. Selling is the idea. That's how you're successful. If you sell enough, you're successful. And if you sell enough stuff, for some reason, someone's going to come down to you and bring you up to this wonderful place where all the good people, all the happy and rich people live. You just have to start your business and sell enough stuff to enough people. And I did that. I bought into that whole idea. I went all out the first year or so. I went from starting the business to selling of a value of around 1.8 million the first year, just right out of the gates, just out there screaming. Did that. Was awesome. Made a lot of money. Was a fun time. But, and there's a huge but in this, I did that because people told me I should do that. I did not do that because there was something inside of me that I wanted to do that. And what happened when that kind of happened in my life was that I started to burn out. I started to burn out completely from this because it wasn't aligned with me. It wasn't aligned with what I wanted to do. It wasn't aligned with anything that I was looking for. And I started to doubt myself. And as you start to doubt yourself, one really, really bad thing can happen to you. We can start making decisions from a scarcity point of view. Instead of a point of abundance, we can start to make decisions from a scarcity or from a fear based perspective. When we start making really, really bad decisions, but we think at the time they're really good. When we say, hey, I'm not going to do this because there's a high chance that if I do that, I might fail and I'm going to lose money. So I started to shift over and play it super, super safe. And I did that. And as I did that, I kind of was burning out at the same time. This double whammy of burning out, making bad decisions is a wonderful combination. You really can go to that point. And I did this for a period. I don't know, a couple of months or so, maybe more than that. And the business didn't go as well anymore. We didn't make any money. We lost money. And everything cost money. And even though we made a lot of money the year before, we had a lot of cost as well. So the actual profit wasn't that high. So we didn't have that much of a reserve to kind of just dig from. So what we had to do at some point was we had to start looking at, all right, how's the financing? And I kind of put on the what do you call that in English? The blinders you put on a horse. We don't, so they don't see to the sides. And you started tunnel vision. And I started to focus more and more on selling. And I started to focus more and more on all these things that someone told me in the online space. Go do this thing. It's going to be awesome. This is going to make you rich. And I did those things. And it got even worse. It got worse and worse and worse. And it got so bad that one day my wife came through the door and she said, well, we have a problem now, honey. We can't pay the bills. All right, we can't pay the bills. Well, that's fine. With the blinders again, ignore it. It's going to solve itself, right? Obviously, it didn't. So we had to do something. I couldn't eat for several weeks while we tried to figure this out. I didn't eat enough because we didn't have enough money at this point. Things had gone sideways like a lot. So I didn't eat because we didn't have enough food, because I wanted the kids to eat first, and we didn't make money in the business. And I was kind of stuck in all of these loops. What am I going to do? How am I going to do this? Why is this happening to me? And everything was so good a while ago, and now it's horrible. And all of these things. And I started to doubt myself in this, all of this as well, which is kind of natural, right? So then I again started to make these decisions based on scarcity. And I did this for well over a year. I was stuck in that loop, the scarcity loop. And we were making just enough money to get by, just living month by month, trying to bring in the money. And if you're a business owner, you know the feeling of this. I'm going to explain right now. You know, when you wake up on the first of the month and you know you have to pay bills by the end of the month, and you need to get clients to actually have someone to pay you so you can pay the bills by the end of the month. And the pressure of that is horrifying. It's one of the worst pressures to have. So when you're stuck in that, it's a downward spiral, and you start making these scarcity decisions. And I did for a long time. I did that. I played it safe, and I played it from a fear based, and it didn't do any good for me or to anyone else. Nothing happened. It just kept being that way. Then I read a book, one book that really changed everything I did around this. Secrets of a Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. If you haven't read it, read it. And if you think it's bullshit, awesome. Think it's bullshit. But to me, it changed something fundamentally inside of me. It helped me understand that the decisions I made in my life came from that scarcity, because up until that point, I hadn't defined that. I couldn't tell everyone. I couldn't explain that was scarcity. But when I read the book, I realized that was exactly what it was. And I know exactly when this hit me, because I was listening to the audiobook and I was out walking. I took a lot of walks back then. I still do, but not as as much as I did back then. And I was out walking, and I walked up a slope, and I had the ocean over to the right, and it was springtime. So it was starting to become green, and I had the ocean out there, and I can hear the seabirds, and I can hear the bees and everything, because I have just one of the earphones in. And that's when it hit me. That's when it hit me. Like a lightning from clear skies, it hit me. He talks about, and this is so powerful, and that's why I wanted to share this. He talks about, and I think the quote is essentially, poor people choose either or, rich people choose both. It hits me like lightning from the skies. That's what's exactly what I've been doing. Instead of actually going and grabbing the opportunities I had, I focused on one of them and I let the other one slip. And if this opportunity I had right in front of me here, if that did not work out, which in most cases, you know, when you have a business, when you have a sales meeting with someone, most people won't buy the things you want to sell. So if that failed, you had nothing. So you had to find new ones. And instead of getting both of these opportunities and putting them together and trying to work them out, I just took one all the time. So what I did on the spot, I literally did this. I paused the audiobook. I went down to the ocean. I found one of these nice slopes down to the ocean where it's just bedrock, you know, down into the ocean. I sat down on it in the sun, and I sat there for a couple of minutes. Then I phoned, sounds silly when I talk about this. Then I phoned one of the biggest exhibition halls in Sweden, and I asked them, what is the biggest exhibition hall, or the biggest conference hall or meeting area you have that you can have a seminar in? And it was 1,200 people, seated people they had in that hall. So I booked that. I booked that right there, and I booked it for about 6 months ahead of time. I booked that, and I said, I'm going to fill that hall with people. I'm going to create something, and I'm going to fill that hall with people that can come and listen to something. It doesn't have to be me. I can do something. I can bring something in here that could bring value to others. And I'm going to do this because I am not going to play small anymore. I'm not going to play from the scarcity side of this. I'm going to play big. And if I fail, I'm going to fail big. Because if I fail and only get 600 people to get in and buy tickets for that hall, I got 600 people in. If I play small and I book that small, tiny one, and you can get 50 people into it, and I fail and I get 25 people in there, that's a much smaller audience. and would have spent just as much time. So I booked that hall and I went all in for this. And I spent several months working super hard on this. And we did everything in our power to do this. Now, by the end of this isn't a sunshine story, because by the end of this, they actually had an issue. So they had to close down the exhibition hall because they found some kind of structural problem with it. So we couldn't do the event when we were supposed to do it. And when they opened up, we kind of fizzled out. But the takeaway here is not that I booked the hall or that. It is that I stopped playing small. And when I stopped playing small, something happened. I stopped playing small and I started to view my business from a perspective of helping and serving. And if I can serve and help enough people, then I will reach my goals as well. I changed my entire mentality around this, and I changed everything I do from the perspective of going out there and selling on a small scale to helping at a grand scale. That was the transition. And when I did that, I stopped thinking about the dangerous and horrible things that could happen to me, if only that is. And I stopped being in that fear. Because reality is, all those fears I had and all those thoughts or the negative things I had in my mind was just in my mind. The reality is, if no one sees what you do, no one cares what you do. That's the harsh truth. And if enough people see what you do, some people will love what you do, some will not like or hate what you do, and that is fine. But if you stay safe and if you play safe and if you stick to your comfort zone all the time, you're never going to reach the goals where you actually wanted to go. You're never going to achieve the goals you set for yourself. You're never going to be able to dream big and hit that home run. You need to step out of the comfort zone, and you need to step out of the perspective of what ifs and really go for it. But don't just go for it for the sake of going for it. Define why you want to do this. Define why it's important to you to change this or to create whatever the thing is you want to create. I talk about this from a business perspective, but since when I started my business, it was only me in my business. It also is a part of my life. My business is part of my life, so it's a holistic part, right? But decide what you want to do, live and go big for this. And don't come from a scarcity mindset. When you hear someone that you think can help you tell you that this is going to cost X amount of money, or when you hear someone telling you that this is possible, you can do this, don't decide from a point of scarcity that you're not going to do it. Sit down, think about what it is, think of the possibilities, think of what you can actually achieve if you just step out of that scarcity and that idea that you are not worthy, or the idea that you cannot do this, and go big. And if you're stuck in this rut of scarcity and feeling poor or feeling down like that, there is one wonderful thing. There's an antidote to this that I use almost every single day, because we all get stuck in the idea that we want more. I think that is inherently human, that we want something more. We want to have bigger results. We want to have more stuff. We want to do other things. We want to create and we want to grow and expand. So something that is easily happening, at least to me, I don't know if it's the case with you, but for me, it's easily happening, or it happens easy. English, my friends, non-native, ignore that. But that happens to me, is that I look at other people and I start comparing with others. And I saw a video a couple of weeks back. It was actually a quite fun video. It talked about West Coast rich and East Coast rich in the US. And looking at West Coast rich, for instance, with all the supercars they have and all these crazy villas on the seafront, we could aspire to that. I mean, it would be nice, obviously, to live in one of those crazy big villas in front of the ocean and drive a Lamborghini to the grocery store and pick up milk. It would be awesome, right? But if we look at everything that's happening in your life, and when I look at everything happening in my life, I feel so much gratitude for where I am right now. Just looking back a couple of years, or just looking back 1 year from now, so much has happened. I met so many fantastic people. I had so much fun. I had the privilege of seeing my kids growing up and getting 1 year older. And we can so easily forget about these things, and we focus on what we don't have in life. So, what I definitely recommend doing on a daily basis is sitting down or taking a walk and at least thinking about all the things you have. We are incredibly blessed. If you can watch this, you are incredibly blessed because you have an internet connection, you have a phone, you have a computer, you probably ate in the last 24 hours. We're so incredibly lucky. We should be grateful for this. Does that mean it can't get better? Obviously not. It can always get better. But it's so easy to forget everything we have when we compare to others and look at what we don't have. I'm guilty of this. I do this almost every single day. And then I need to reconnect my mind and my heart and my soul and look at what I actually have. And the journey of an entrepreneur and a business owner is never a straight line. It's never going to be from idea to incredibly rich and powerful, and you can do everything you want. It's never going to be that straight line. It's going to be ups and it's going to be downs. The key is to keep it gradually increasing. That's what it is. And compare yourself only to yourself. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday and envision who you want to be tomorrow. And live in the present because the present is just that, the present to you. My friend, thank you so much for watching this video. I wish you all the best and I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are. My name is Joel. Take care and I'll see you soon. Bye.